All right, hey everybody, Bill Crawford here with my 7th episode of my Casual Coaches podcast, being taped on July 18th, 2023, probably posting or on July 19th. We'll see. We're here in the weight room of Nicholson Stadium in Wellsville, Ohio. My guests are Nate Scott and Cam Douglas, both recently named we think the youngest head coaches in their respective sports in the history of Wellsville High School. We're not 100% sure, but I'm thinking we're probably going to bank on that.
We'll go with
They are both 27. So the purpose of this podcast, I'm sorry, is not your normal sports podcast. To me, when this happened, both kind of things happened sort of close to the same time. And I'm not even technically a Wellsville guy, but even I can feel the hype and anticipation of these two, taking the helm of these two programs. I just can't get enough of it. I think it's fantastic. And with me is none other than the professor himself, Iron Mike Reiner. He's the co-producer of this episode. Who better to share some insights on Coach Cam and Coach Nathan, this legendary Wellsville historian. Any introductory words, Professor?
I've known these two guys for a very long time. Football and basketball games back in our day were the best times at Wellsville, and happy to be a part of this interview with two phenomenal leaders here tonight. So it's going to be a great couple seasons here coming up.
Good stuff. And again, this episode is sort of like on the human interest side of this spectacular development here. Let me rewind a little bit now. Nate and Cam are both 27 years old. They are heading up. They are the new head coaches, first year of Wellsville High School football, Division 7, and Wellsville High School basketball, Division 4. And let's start out by simply asking our guests how it feels to be entrusted by the school board and your peers to lead the respective programs at such a young age. Nate?
It feels great, man. Like I said, I've been an assistant for the last 5-6 years now, and then when Bug told me he was gonna, step down and hang it up for the 2 months he did, and he talked to some people,
fashion.
And the school board was all for me getting it, and I have a lot of respect for them. I mean, they trust me a lot. They didn't even open it up to the public, so it was great. I feel blessed and honored to be here.
Cam?
First off, thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for coming down. Again, kind of just to piggyback off of what Nate said, it means the world to have the school and the board have that much trust in you and trust you to have relationships with these kids and try to turn this program around. So, again, a big shout out to the school board and everybody involved in getting us in this position.
Good stuff, and I'm sure you do already, but you've got to feel good to step back. Again, I can't say it enough that this is a big deal. It's so why I drug all this stuff down there to this 120 degree weight room to do this little podcast, because I just think it's really, really cool, and so I'm excited about it. I know you guys going way back in the day. I mean, baseball, basketball, we have our moments, some good, some not good, being a Potter, but in Little League Baseball back in the day, Cam terrorizing Little League Baseball as a pitcher. But so, we have history going back in the day, but you guys turned into some fine young men, you as well, Mike. And
Yeah.
you're a work in progress now.
Right, that's right, yeah. I'm okay.
All right, we're just going to kind of wing this like we've done in the past, and it usually comes out pretty good. Let me ask you a question. How much does your playing days back in the day, each of you, factor into your coaching philosophy? So in other words, when you're playing football or basketball, did you ever think, man, if I was a coach, I'd do this, or if I was a coach, I'd do that, or I wouldn't do that? Is that, or maybe it's like, dang, the coaches back in the day were right all along, or is it like a mixture of both? What are your thoughts on that?
You want me to go first? I mean, yeah, I think.
No disrespect to your coaches.
Yeah. I mean, every kid's gonna say, "Oh, the coach."
Of course,
I know more than him, or I know, But after the season's over, you take time to reflect and say, "Oh, yeah." I mean, there was some things where I was wrong, coach was right, and stuff like that. But just for my philosophy, when I was run and gun shooter, and I want to play fast like we played. Nowadays, if you can't shoot, it's hard to get on the floor. I don't care if it's high school basketball, college, NBA. If you can't space the floor out and shoot, even if it's a mid-range, you can't. It's hard to get on the floor. We need spacing. So I think it's still a little too early right now for basketball to talk about everything philosophy. Plus, I don't want to give it all out. But
Of course.
there'll be some changes for sure, and I think it'll benefit the team the most.
That's what's important. Good. Cam?
Kind of go off what you said. I think at the time, I might have said to myself,
You're looking really ornery. Got a really ornery look on your face.
I think at the time, I told myself and probably a few other guys, we could do this better than the coaches. But you come to realize these guys know what they're talking about. They were there for a reason. Just to add to that, Rich Wright, prime example out of Southern Local. I played for him our senior year, and the way he ran the program and built the foundation and got guys to buy in. We took bits and pieces from him as well as anybody we've played for, our staff as a whole, just took bits and pieces and made it our own thing. So that played a huge part in what we're getting here, and kind of to go off what Mike said to start, we want to get back to the old Wellsville. So a lot of those same principles, holding the kids accountable, holding ourselves accountable, and then the relationships, that's the biggest thing. You got to have relationships with these kids or you're not going too far.
Mike, what do you think about you're a Wellsville guy and you have all these connections? I know I'm feeling this way, but tell me about what you think. What are people saying about this, and are everybody behind them? And are people psyched about both football and basketball with these guys leading the gang?
I think what it comes down to is passion. I think that these two guys, they exemplify that just in everything they do. And that goes to show, I mean, they're two popular guys, Cam and Nate. They go to all the games. They're there. And that's what I see. I see a lot of, social media. On social media, everybody's getting really excited. And personally, for everyone on social media to get excited about something, it's pretty awesome that everybody's getting to do that, and just all the memories seeing, these two guys, playing football, playing basketball. It's the 10-year anniversary of our first home playoff win. So, I mean, I think it's just really cool that it's full circle. I mean, it's crazy that now it's 10 years since that point. I mean, I feel pretty old myself, but it's just, I mean,
You have no idea.
but it's wonderful. Just these two guys wanting to lead our programs and get things going. Yeah, it's great.
I told you he was a historian. That's a good tidbit there. Okay, so how about Nate? You've been an assistant already, so By the way, I'm going to backtrack and say that my man John Stokes was never wrong. Okay, we'll just move on from that.
we can edit that out.
There you go, John Boy. Nate, you've already been an assistant, so you know a little bit about what's involved. But Cam, you're engaged, have a full-time job, a couple kids, one on the way. You're already busy. Are you prepared for what's to come, or perhaps it's already started being head coach?
Absolutely. It was a bit slow getting into it. It was so much at one time. But I found ways to manage it. My staff has been tremendous with that. Coach Spann, Derek Spann, he has been a head coach before.
Yeah, he's
so
a good dude.
He gives me little bits and pieces that help with everything, just pretty much slowing the process down for me. And then, of course, my fiance at home, she holds the fort down for me. So I got lucky in that aspect because she makes sure the kids are getting where they're going if I'm at practice, or they got gymnastics or track, football, whatever's going on, because it never stops in our household, obviously. So she is a huge help. And then, like I said, my coaching staff is unbelievable. The amount of time they put in, keeping me sane, conversations we have, just the little things. And they might not even know how much it means to me, but it helps a whole lot.
Speaking of which, because last time we did this, nothing was super really official. We couldn't say much. But go ahead and name your coaching staff if you don't mind.
Okay, so my offensive coordinator will be Jordan Sloan, who graduated with us as well. Our defensive coordinator is Coach Spann, who I just spoke of, Derek Spann. My special teams coordinator is Kavla Masters. And then I have two line coaches, offensive, defensive line, Marcus Dyrenpool and Greg Beatty. And I also have Shane Reed, who works with our running backs and our defensive backs. So a pretty solid staff. We got a couple experienced guys. Even my younger guys have experience. Like Jordan is going on his 5th year of high school football experience.
Wow.
Greg Beatty was the middle school coach here, so he was involved in a lot of the high school stuff as well. As I said before, Derek has been in the head coach position before. Shane coached with him. So we got a nice mix of, I don't want to call them old guys because they're not old, but older than me. So older guys, and then we got a group of younger guys, and I think we mesh pretty well.
What about you, Nate? Can you rattle off your coaching staff as well?
Yeah, so we got Camden, who'll be the head JV coach, and then John Stokes, we talked about.
Because he doesn't have enough to do.
John Stokes, he'll be basically my go-to assistant. Camden's go-to assistant. He'll help everybody. Nick Bear, depending on his work, he'll be another assistant back on our staff. So,
Yogi.
yeah, I wanted to keep a couple guys back, with Bug and Lonnie leaving and going to the girls, and it's official now. They're at the girls, so I can always go to them if I need help. Go to my family. I got people I can lean on, and I think it'll be fun because, like I said, I've been there the last couple of years, and Stokes has been there for
100 years.
Yeah, I didn't say it, but yeah. So I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be something new for the kids, and I'm excited.
So back to the responsibilities and everything. Both you guys feel pretty confident that it takes a little weight off your shoulders, that your families have your back on this and they're 100% behind you?
Absolutely.
Good deal. That's good to know. Nate, have you discovered what extra duties, I know it's early, but what extra duties and responsibilities that you really didn't have to deal with before come with the head coaching gig?
I mean, really, everything that I've done the last couple of years as an assistant times 10. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, It's crazy because, we're in summertime and you go to the Family Dollar or Dollar General and someone says, hey, head coach, how's it going, How's the team looking? I'm like, man, we got so many months don't worry about it looking right now, just wait till later, But, I mean, the thing I like about Wellsville is a small community. People talk bad about it a lot, but they care about their people that take care of their younger generation, and they hold each other accountable, and sometimes words hurt people's feelings, but, I mean, as a coach, you have to understand.
You got to have some thick skin.
You got to have some thick skin. And that's what I told my family. I said, don't worry about what people say about me. No matter what happens, someone's always going to hate. So just
You're not going to be able to make everybody
exactly.
happy.
So, but like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I love Wellsville, so.
Good. It shows. Let's get Mike involved again here and talk a little bit about the season, not too in depth, but just like the expectations, what you maybe know about the schedule. We talked about the coaches. Just kind of, Mike kind of just run them through the ringer about, actually about the teams themselves and what we might expect.
I took a look at the schedule. As far as football goes, Camden, I think I saw that the first 5 games are at home.
Yes, sir.
How does that work to the Tigers'
Wow.
advantage?
Well, first of all, they're either going to love me or hate me by the time week 5's over with. But the good thing about it is we practice on this field. We're out here every day, so when we come on, it's the only difference is going to be you got a couple hundred people in the stands, and you got bright lights shining on you, obviously. But I think it plays to our advantage. We can kind of get into a rhythm. But, I mean, you've known me for a long time. To me, it doesn't matter if I'm at home, on the road, we're going to play, and we're going to show up every night.
Awesome. And
Hey,
then-
Cam, tell me what you just told me a little bit about turf. How many degrees hotter is it in the summer on turf than it is? Because I had never heard that before. I'm sure a lot of people listening do not, but that's
Well,
news to me.
Let's start by saying I'm no scientist, I'm no meteorologist, nothing like that. But it's about, I'd say, 10 to 15 degrees hotter on that turf. With the they have the rubber pellets underneath the turf, so those get pretty hot. So on a day like even today, it was, I don't know the exact temperature, but it felt like almost 100 degrees out there on that turf.
By the way, guys, I'm going to do a little bit of coaching and make sure you stay hydrated because it's about 110 degrees here right now. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah. But, I mean, this question's for both of you. Favorite memories from your playing days? Cam, football, basketball, Nate, basketball. This is just kind of an interesting human interest question for me because I don't know what game's your favorite.
Go ahead,
But-
bud, you're first.
Yeah.
Oh boy, memory lane here. So I think the home game against Leetonia, when I broke the all-time boys scoring record on a three-pointer, and then legitimately, like the next possession, we stole the ball. Camden threw it to me. I threw it up to him. He caught it, slammed it one-handed.
Nice.
It was a three-pointer to break the record, and then a alley-oop, slam dunk one-handed. The crowd's going nuts, and then Bug pulled us out the game. So, but that was probably one for both of us to be in the same, back-to-back. It was pretty cool.
Cool. How about
For
you?
me, I would say that's definitely up there basketball-wise. Basketball is hard because we had so many. Our team was great. Football was the same thing, but basketball would probably say Lowville. I think you got your 1,000 that game, or
No, I
broke the all-time record
Yeah.
that game.
Okay.
He broke the all-time record that game. us and Louisville were pretty big rivals. I had a couple dunks that game, and we got the win. So that was one of my favorite games for sure, basketball-wise. And then football, that one's pretty easy for me. That's going to be the home playoff game we had here. The first one in school history. The last time we had a home playoff game until hopefully this year we can make that happen. But like you said, 10 years since that game, and for me to be in the position I am and try to turn this thing around, that's pretty big for me.
Well, and I remember back when Emily Olmstead used to take photos, there was one of the stands for that game, and I could just remember the sea of people, the massive humanity that was there for that game. And
Absolutely.
you guys were a part of those times, and to be able to try to bring that back is pretty magical. And just having the team come out and play hard and play 100%. So I'm looking forward to see what happens this season and going forward.
And to speak off of that, I actually had one of my buddies the other day show me. I had no clue it was there. There's a few videos on YouTube of that playoff game where you can there's one that you can see everybody, and then they have one of like the tunnel, they call it, where we're coming off the field and there's just a big mass of people. So it's good to be able to look at that stuff and remember those things too. So
Very cool.
Yeah, the internet, man, it's awesome. I could go back, I could see whatever game,
absolutely.
all the Big Orange Machine days, stuff
there
like
you
that
go.
too. People put that on there, so I'm happy to go back and look at that sometimes. But yeah, good times.
So you guys have been at least playing basketball probably together, have been friends since like first, second grade, something like that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
that's cool. All right, what about, speaking of first, second grade, so people that might not understand, explain a little bit about how, or maybe you're just finding out that kind of, at least I think it's this way, you're sort of, like you don't have enough to worry about, you're responsible for the youth programs going all the way down to whatever for your respective sports, is that right?
Yeah.
So you got to oversee all these
Yes.
tiny little tykes and all this kind of stuff, whatever that involves. You're in charge of that whole program.
I actually get off a little easy. Marcus Dyerpool, who is one of my assistant coaches, he and his wife actually run our Junior Tigers
Nice.
program. Lucky for me, they do a fantastic job. They take care of everything. Now, obviously, I tell them whatever you need from me, I want to be involved. And we get done with practice. I'm sure you saw the kids out there practicing behind
I
the
did.
locker room. I go out there and get
That's
to know
why I
the
wrote
kids
that
and
down
all
on my
that
notes.
stuff.
I saw these little kids
Yeah,
running.
absolutely. So that's good. The kids see. They look at our kids like they're NFL players. So they leave practice. The kids see them all, and probably distracts them a little bit. So I understand that as a coach. But then, like I said, I go out there. I get to meet the coaches, who I know most of them already, and talk to the kids a little bit, just so they can feel like they're a part of this just as much as anybody else.
Right. And you also kind of, assuming you're going to be around for a while, you're kind of keeping an eye out on what's going on
Absolutely.
for these kids coming up.
Absolutely.
And then I assume you have good support, or maybe even going to have better support than ever with like boosters and that sort of thing moving forward.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be so excited about it. Speaking of which, are you two? I think I know the answer, but do you see yourself being in it for the long haul? Perhaps building these programs into something that more special than they've ever been. I mean, are you going to, you guys going to, provided you don't move on to bigger and better things, you're going to be doing the same thing for the next 10, 20, 25 years, whatever?
Yeah, that's the plan. God
Yeah.
willing, the thing is, we both are the same people. So, when we've been friends forever. So it's like when I do something that he don't agree with, or when he does, we hold each other accountable. So that's why it was like a no-brainer to keep him on my staff. And with him being around here, and coaching football, and Stokes being back with me, so I feel like if I can keep the same support within me with the coaching staff, I think everything will run smoothly, because we're all on the same page. We all want to win, and we'll do whatever it takes to get to that.
Speaking of which, was there ever a time historically where you did not get along, feuds, spats, whatever?
Me and Camden? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, we made it. The thing is, when we played, people don't understand, you don't have this much anymore from a small school like us, but we played when we was in third grade, or was it third grade? We played in the
Yeah, we
fourth
were
and fifth
rivals.
grade leagues,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Played
we
up,
we played from, all 9 of us that were seniors played from third grade all the way up to our senior year together. So, like, by the time we was in middle school, if you wasn't in the right spot, someone was telling you. So, there might have been arguments, but it was just to better the team. Of
course.
So there's never really no, beef between us. So that's what I think is great about us.
I beg to differ a little bit. We used to be YMCA League. We used to
Oh,
be
boy.
rivals back,
Yeah.
obviously, second, third, fourth grade, but we never got on the same team in the Y League.
Right.
So
They
that was
wouldn't
the
put us
one
together.
time They wouldn't put us together.
Well,
so-
yeah.
Ask him who won, though.
The Y League, yeah. That might have been the demise of the men's Y League, too. We won't get into that, but good stuff. Mike, what else you got? Anything?
Oh, let me go through my list here.
Again, while you're looking, the whole idea of this, I hope you've enjoyed this, because what we really wanted to do, I've been looking forward to this since we got together last time, and this happened over the last several months or whatever, is to talk about just what we talked about here, seeing what makes these two guys tick, and just trying to explain how really cool it is that these two 27-year-olds have been lifelong friends. They're heading up the the high school basketball and football programs for this Wellsville High School. So.
Yeah, I mean, you three, you know each other pretty well. What are 3 words that you would use to describe the other? Cam, what's 3 words that
Putting
you'd
you on the
use to
spot.
describe Nate? And Nate, vice
least-
versa. What's 3
No-
words
no
that you
profanity.
would use?
At least you're first.
Nothing offensive, but what are 3 words that you would use to describe the other coach?
I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is just loyal. Like I said, we've been friends since second grade. No big arguments, anything like that. Like Nate said, we might have had our times where we get mad at each other or whatever, but 5 minutes later, we're back to whatever we were doing. So that's the biggest thing. And I know anytime I need him, I can call him. I know he's going to keep it 100% real with me. I know he's not going to tell me what I want to hear, which is great to have.
That's important.
So loyal, that's the biggest thing for me. Tough, that's another thing about Nate. He's a tough guy.
Come
mentally
on.
tough.
Teddy
tough.
bear.
It's all up here.
It's hard to get him to break. It's hard to get to crack him. Strong-willed would be another word I would use. Is if Nate wants to do something, it's probably going to happen.
Right.
Which is why I'm not shocked that he's in the position he's in. Because, like I said, if he wants something, he's going to make it happen. And I think that all 3 of those things I think are going to help him. And what I predict will be a pretty successful coaching career for him.
Nate?
And petty back to what he said. I mean, loyalty is obviously that's going to be there. You know, just the way me and him been together for all these years. And then super competitive. He's a competitive guy. You know, and he wants to win just as I want to win. He wants the best for everybody, not just himself. And he's caring. You know what I mean? He cares for the kids. You know, he cares for the development of the players and his coaching. And you know, I think that's what you need in a coach. You need to be able to have all 3 of them. You know. So I think he'll do great with football. I think he'll turn it around. I think no matter what happens, he's always got me supporting him no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. So you know, he's in. Plus, if he does something wrong, I'm just gonna scream down in the stands and tell him, you know, take the headset off, and you know. But no, I think he'll do great things. Yeah, I think he'll do great things.
I'll be getting phone calls after Friday nights. That's
I might be in the press box with Stokes. I might just get on the loudspeaker and.
Hey, run the ball, man. Come on.
All right. Well, hey, huge thanks to my guests, Coach Cam, Coach Nate, Professor Aaron, Mike. Be sure to visit CrawfordPodcast.com. That's where you can find these Casual Coaches podcasts, and also my music side of things, my music podcast, Miller Green Music Podcast. There's some cool stuff on there. And, of course, these podcasts are on YouTube, and you can get there through CrawfordPodcast.com. And I also put them out on Spotify, and we'll start putting them on the other usual podcast locations, iTunes and that sort of thing. And we're videoing these because it kind of makes it more interesting just to see people talking, which seems weird, but that's the way it is anymore. But when you're listening to this, you can pull up your phone, listen to your car through your car radio, whatever, and you're not really missing anything except our pretty faces. So you can, still works as a video podcast and a regular podcast. But so I appreciate that. I'll close by, and again, thanks again, Mike, for helping me out. And just if you have any last words to say about what's coming up, or real quick too, if people want to find out more about the 2 sports programs, what's the best ways as far as I don't know that much about the websites, social media, that sort of thing. If you want to see the schedule when it comes time, or even this podcast or other media stuff, or things that are coming up even throughout the season with the football and basketball programs, what's the best way where should people go online?
Go ahead.
Facebook would definitely be the place for football. We have a page now. They might get mad at me for this because I don't know the exact name, but it's either going to be Wellsville Football Boosters or
Well, you can
Wellsville High
find
School
it.
Football Boosters. You'll know when you
People
see
know
the
how
big
to
Tiger
find it,
picture
yeah.
on there. But they do a really good job keeping up with stuff. All our events will be posted on there. I think we post pretty ahead of schedule. Like right now, we have all our scrimmage dates on there, our first game date, all that. And then anytime we have interviews or podcasts, we'll be sharing this one on the page as well.
Of course.
So we just try to share as much as we can just so people know what's going on.
Same with you, Nate? Or-
Yeah, Facebook, I just checked it, Wellsville's boys basketball.
There you
So
go.
we will probably have an Instagram later on when the season starts. I got to find I would like to get a social media guy to take control of everything. I know we talked about it before, but
Get Stokes on the case.
him and that Android, you ain't gonna get no good pictures with that. But I just think the kids love to be on social
course,
media, so
yeah.
why not, let them take advantage of it. So
And we'll maybe halfway through each of these seasons, we'll get together again, if it's feasible, possible, just to recap and see what's going on, see how things are going. You'll
Depending
be
on the
both-
records.
Both be undefeated by that time. Any last words from you guys?
I don't know much. I'm not going to speak on football, but I know basketball. I mean, I think the summer league showed me a lot. We played a lot of bigger schools. We took a beating a couple times. But we never gave up. We took 7 kids down there. So I think the younger kids, we lost a lot. I think a lot of people are counting us out, and I think please do, because that's just going to get everybody fired up, and I'm going to use that to the full event all year long. I'm going to use that. So I think even in football, basketball, I think the athletes are here. It's just the player development needs to continue to grow, and the kids are going to be. I mean, we got some athletes.
I think you guys are going to make that happen. Do you have any football players that are going to be on the basketball team?
Probably 80%, 90%.
Oh, really?
As many as I can get over there, we're going to get over there. So that's the one thing about small schools is we share our athletes.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. I prefer it, honestly, because we're keeping them in season almost year round.
Staying out of trouble, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
So I try to make my guys you're either going to play basketball or you're going to wrestle. They're not forced, obviously. It's their choice, but I like to keep them
Yeah,
involved
sure.
somehow, some way.
Makes sense.
So
Good.
yeah.
And there's one kid I want everyone to remember the name of football, Tyrell Watkins, and basketball, too.
Okay.
That kid's
All right. I remember that name. Is that good? What about you, Mike? Got anything else?
because I know Mike wanted to know someone to break out. So there's your
Oh, there you
breakout
go.
player.
Okay.
That's our breakout star already then. But
You heard it here. And if you're listening to this 5-10 years from now, I told you so.
I'll give you one more, too, Clayton Kersey.
Okay.
Clayton
okay.
Kersey, sophomore quarterback.
Hmm.
If you went out there and saw him throwing that thing around, you would probably think he's a junior or a senior out there.
He's going to be your starting quarterback?
He's going to be our starter, and he's just been tough as nails all summer.
Nice.
First 7-on-7 he had, that was his first time facing a varsity defense, and he threw 7 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and I think 40 plays, 50 plays, he threw 7 touchdowns. So we expect big things from him, so you'll be hearing that name a lot as well.
Right. It's a youth movement at Wellsville. So,
There we go.
Of course.
Coach from the coaches all the way down. Yeah. All right. Casual Coaches Podcast. Be sure to visit CrawfordPodcast.com. Also on CrawfordPodcast.com, we have Casual Coaches Podcast T-shirts, Miller Green Music Podcast. They're only $10, so come on. It just helps us keep the equipment going or whatever. This is just a grassroots podcast for fun. But you can be proudly wearing your podcast T-shirt out and about. So
And they
thanks.
can wear the same shirts as the Wellsville coaches because we have our
They all have them. We all have them. That's right. If you've seen a shirt out there, that's be like the cool kids and get one of our shirts.
right.
Absolutely. All right, we're out. Thanks for tuning in, guys.